Therapist of the Wood County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I am going to give a presentation today about assistive technology for pediatrics. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions following the presentation. I am going to share my screen and we will get started. I also think it's important to note that this was presented or recorded in January of 2026, and so it has not been updated since then. So there may be some changes in technology since this recording. So the objectives for this presentation is I ideally would like for you to identify 4 assistive technology solutions that can help promote independence and safety. Identify 3 technology solutions that can assist with daily life, tasks, and schedules, and recognize resources available in the community to trial assistive technology solutions. So before we dive in, I just want to make sure we all have a good understanding of assistive technology. And this is any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product system that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities for a person with disability. But really, if you look at it, our goal to use assistive technology is a way to increase independence and safety. So for pediatrics, you might be wondering, why are we even looking at assistive technology? But there's a lot of things that technology can do to help all individuals and all folks. This could be something such as safety, independence, organization, education, community engagement in recreation and leisure, sensor regulation, health management, and so much more. Technology has a vast amount of benefits that can benefit anyone from all ages. And so we want to make sure that we are exploring some of these solutions. So this presentation is broken up into different categories. The first one I'm going to go over is elopement. This part is brief. I do have an elopement presentation. We have it on our website. So if you would like more information about elopement, please refer back to our specific elopement training. Starting off, a common piece of technology that we recommend for elopement would be alarms and cameras. So we look at door or window alarms. These are really easy to install right on the door or the window frames. They're battery operated. They have different alarm sounds that you can choose from based on what type of alarm you can get. It can alarm right from the device itself, or you can get an alarm that has a wireless chime that you can plug into an outlet that goes into another room, and then it would chime from that chime and not from the sensor itself. There are even some door and window sensors that pair with an app that would give a notification on your phone. You can also set it up where you can have it announced through a smart hub. For example, Ring has a system where you can pair that with the Alexa and you can name each of the door alarms, and so you can have bedroom door open, or etc. Other options would be indoor cameras or outdoor cameras or even video doorbells. These can be monitored by natural supports. There are some options that have cameras monitored by remote supports, but if you're looking at pediatrics, you will have to talk to your team about that option. Cameras have the ability to be battery powered or wired operated. You can do live viewing or you can view past recordings. You also have the ability to look at your camera activity through your phone or a smart hub. So that way, if you're not home, you can still monitor what's happening at the door or at the cameras. And this lets caregivers identify if someone were to elope, what the loved one was wearing, which direction they went off to, a way to give concrete information to anyone who may be helping with locating your loved one. GPS trackers are another option for elopement. AngelSense is one. This is the black teardrop shaped one that's in the corner over here. This has an option for geofencing or safe zones. So you could set like the house, grandparents' house, school, wherever is a commonly visited area for the person who's wearing the device. You could set that as a safe zone, and you can get notifications when they arrive and when they leave those zones. You can also, through the app, do real-time tracking to monitor where the device is going. You can also get app alerts and notifications about the device. There are many different ways to wear this AngelSense device, including sensory friendly like tank tops or shorts, a lanyard, a wristband. They even have one that's a watch now as well. On the device itself, there is that silver circle that is a SOS button that the user could push and it would notify through the app that they are trying to contact their loved ones. And then the adult that has the app can also communicate through the individual through this device. Other options that you can look at, excuse me, going back to AngelSense, that does work off cellular data to have a more accurate location. While going off to some other options, such as the Apple AirTags, the Tile, or the Galaxy Smart Tile or Smart Tags, those run off of Bluetooth. So you have to be within a vicinity of another product that has Bluetooth, be able to ping off of that. So you may not get as accurate of a reading as you would with AngelSense. These devices, though, are typically smaller and they have different ways that you can wear them or put them maybe into like a backpack. There are GPS watches. These would include the TikTok, Verizon Gizmo 3, an Apple Watch, or the AngelSense watch that I just talked about, and more. With these watches, excluding the AngelSense, you can do voice and video calling. So on the TikTok and the Gizmo Watch and the Apple Watch, you could have contacts where you can talk through the watch or text through there. You have the option to have an emergency SOS button. They can track location. This does not have access to the internet, so you don't have to worry about them using their watches to get on an unsafe platform. And the way this works is off of cellular data as well. So this would come with a monthly cellular fee in order to get that GPS tracking accuracy. All right, the next category of pediatrics we're going to go into is independence. So a way we like to start independence is looking at smart hubs. These would be like your Alexa or your Google. Ways that you can work on having some of that independence and initiation with using these hubs is you can have timers or alarms or reminders set to help that individual keep track of their schedule. When you do, let's say, reminders, you could have it say, give me a reminder on Wednesday at 3 o'clock to do X, Y, and Z. So you can set reminders for the future. You can also have it do alarms for the future as well. Timers are great that you can set the timer when you're in motion activity. You don't always have to stop and pull out your phone or set a physical timer on a microwave or a dial timer. We can help set routines with our smart hubs. Usually with routines, you can do that as a standalone or you can pair it with other devices. So for example, if I were to say, good morning, Alexa, it could tell me the weather, what time it is, remind me that I need to brush my teeth and take my medication. So you can have it give me a lot of auditory information just by me saying a certain thing to it. Cooking is another great way to work on some of that independence with using a smart hub. We find that the Alexa might be a little bit of a better option for this because on Alexa, if you have an Alexa with a screen, you can ask it to pull up a recipe. Any recipe, if in particular, like mac and cheese, for example, and on the screen it will show different options for mac and cheese. You can select the one that you like, and then from there you can read the step-by-step instructions, or it can also read each step out loud to you and wait for you to ask for the next one. In addition to that, you can create a shopping list by selecting the button that says add ingredients to my shopping list, or you could just tell Alexa to add certain items into the shopping list, and that shopping list is housed in the app on whatever smart device you'd be using, like a phone or a tablet. Another thing that the smart hubs can do is give you guidance for specific questions or just general information, such as what is the weather today, or how long will my commute be? Is this business open today? Just get some information real quick for somebody. Going back to it can pair with other compatible smart devices such as the doorbell, the camera. So I can ask it to show me the front door if anyone is ringing the doorbell. I can also put it with a smart plug. So I could maybe have a sensory room and say, Alexa, turn on the sensory room. and it could activate some of the smart plugs in there and turn on a star projector or a light or something that could help me with my self-regulation. For somebody who would like to use a smart hub, but they find that it is difficult to interact with it because of the speech recognition within the Alexa or the Google, we found that the flick buttons are really helpful. They are only compatible with the Alexas, but for each button, you can program up to 3 different commands by simply pressing the button one time, a double press, or a long hold. And this will tell Alexa to do whatever you had programmed to do. So that's maybe stick again with the themes of what's the weather. I could push the button one time and it'll tell me the weather. I could double press it and I'll set like a 5-minute timer. So it's a way to still interact with the Alexa and bridge that gap for someone who has a hard time, who is nonverbal, or Alexa has a hard time understanding them. There are other ways that we can also do like home automations or environmental controls, again, such as the smart plugs that I just talked about, light bulbs. There are some that you can control through an app or maybe again with like the Alexa, or if you haven't plugged into a smart plug, that could be really helpful for younger folks or younger kids. There are locks that could be beneficial if you have somebody who's working independence of coming and going and they have a hard time with dexterity or tend to forget their key. You can do keypad locks or biometric locks where you just use your fingerprint to eliminate the need for having that key there. Thermostats are things that you control pretty easily. For example, the Google one you can control with your voice or through the app. You can also set routines for when you want the temperature to change. If you have someone who's physically unable to adjust their blinds or their curtains, you can get switch. That is what we use the most. You can put that in like your curtains, and we tell Google to open the curtains, and it will open and close the curtains without physically having to touch them. There are also blinds that can open and close that are compatible with smart hubs or have a remote that goes with them. There are other sensors that you could get, such as like a fridge temperature, if there's a water leak, or if you have a young kid who likes to have a lot of fun in the tub or in the toilet, and if they're leaking, overflowing, then you can get a motion or notification if water was detected. There's also temperature sensors that are really popular around like the stove. If someone tends to forget to turn off the burners or if they're cooking at too high of a heat, the temperature can send a notification that it's too hot. And there's also fire and carbon monoxide alarms that can announce that there's a fire or send a notification if someone is concerned about the ability to respond to the emergency. They also have fire alarms that will have a strobe light for someone who is deaf or hard of hearing. All right, self-care safety. We broke this down in different categories. So, for example, the bathroom. If we're really looking at being safe and independent bathroom, there is a color changing shower head that gives you a light to indicate that it's a green light to indicate it's an ideal temperature. So you don't have kiddos getting into the water that's too cold or too hot. There are product dispensers where you can put your shampoo, body wash, conditioner, all of them in this dispenser, and you just push the button and it dispenses it instead of having to deal with all these extra bottles. You may have seen something like this at hotels. Those are becoming more popular in those areas as well. There are a variety of adaptive grooming items, such as toothbrushes, nail clippers, hairbrushes, etc. There are smart scales that can break down what the weight is into like water weight, muscle mass, etc., to give you a better idea of what your weight is. There are fall dependents or call lights that you can use within a bathroom. In a way to help everyone have their privacy, motion sensors are a way that a kiddo could be in the bathroom but still have the privacy without a camera in there. It can detect when there's motion, when there isn't motion, for anyone who's concerned about that. There's also different type of adaptive clothing. So there's adaptive shirts that can open with like a magnet. There are pants that have access for like a catheter. clothing for access with ports, billy shoes that Velcro around. So there's all sorts of different type of adaptive clothing that would exist as well. If we're looking at safety in the kitchen, we typically start with recommending a smart hub like an Alexa or Google if that's appropriate. There are automatic stove shutoffs or like the temperature sensor. There are pull down cabinets that will allow somebody to reach higher shelves, feeding assistants, adaptive utensils or dinnerware. So for someone who may need a built-up utensil or stabilizing spoon, divided plate, nosy cups, etc. There are adaptive cutting items such as rocker knives or adaptive cutting boards, cut-resistant gloves. All those can help with somebody with being independent in the kitchen and reduce their risk of injury. Some other generic things that can help with independence is if we're looking at maybe a C-pen reader or a scan reader. These are devices that you can scan over words and they'll read the text out loud to you. That you can also pair that with headphones if you want it to be a little bit more discreet. The picture on the bottom here, this is called the guided hands. This is for somebody who has difficulty maybe with shoulder stabilization or strength in their upper extremities, hand control. You can rest your hand on that teal or light blue platform, and off of that, you see that yellow highlighter. Now this user can use their slide their hand across like the X and Y axis there to be able to interact with the entire platform that is sitting on. There's also all kinds of like braille supports, tactile supports. The other picture here is an alarm clock that has a bed shaker alarm. So that black disc there will vibrate when the alarm goes off. So if you have someone who's deaf, hard of hearing, maybe hard to motivate to get up, you can have that bed shaker alarm to notify them that the alarm is going off. The Pen Friend 3 is a fun resource. It kind of looks like a pen that does not have an ink cartridge in it, but instead you would tap the end of the pen to these specialized stickers. Now you can put these stickers on a variety of things, such as food or medication. And when you put that sticker on there, you can use the pen to record a customized message or what you want that sticker to announce. So you put it maybe on medication, so I can record it very easily from the pen, that what the medication is, what it's for, how frequently I'm supposed to use it. And then the next time I go to use that medication, if I'm not really sure, I can just tap the sticker with the pen and it'll say my recording out loud. So if we're working on some of the independence, that is something that can go back to refer to that sticker. And then visual aids are really helpful for helping with instructions and attending to task. All right, so speaking of attending to task, organization will be the next topic we go over. So again, going back to those smart hubs, those are really helpful. You can even sync like your Google Calendar to your smart hubs. You can see what's on your calendar that day. You can do visual or written schedules. We have a 3D checklist slider that we use for some of our older youth. So that way it's not the clip art, like maybe generic or juvenile pictures for them when they get a little bit older, so they can do the 3D checklist sliders. A calendar, whether that be digital or paper, whichever works best for the individual, daily, weekly, or monthly. Smartphones and smart apps such as the Reminder app on the iOS or Google Keeps on Android are fantastic resources. And the last one here is the Watchminder. So these are what those watches are. They are designed to help with self-monitoring and behavior modification. They give a vibration reminder message. On these, they have examples such as pay attention, slow down, relax, homework, or focus. So if anyone who wears a smartwatch, they feel that vibration, it's discreet like that. And then you can have a customized message go off at a certain time to remind the person who's wearing the watch, maybe to focus, relax, breathe, keep working, medication, etc. So whatever notification they might need to help them stay on task. There are some apps in addition to the reminder or the Google Keeps that we found to be really helpful. Routine Factory is one. It does have a subscription to it. This gives you a visual schedule for your day or the week. You can use clip art pictures or your own personalized pictures. And then you can also have the option to upload videos for extra assistance. So if you have something such as load the dishwasher, you can upload a video of your loved one loading the dishwasher and they can refer back to the video when they need to. ChoiceWorks is another one that has a subscription, but it has a lot of great features on it, such as making your schedule. It has guidance of what to do when you're waiting and how a visual schedule for how long we're waiting for. It talks about your feelings and then what you can do when you feel a certain way. You can use the stock pictures that they have or your own personalized pictures or videos. But in particular for the schedule, it has a to-do list, an all done column. You can add a timer on there, such as brush your teeth for 2 minutes, and you add that on there, and once they are done, they can slide that task over that they completed that. Habitica is an app that is free. It is meant to help with habit building and productivity. It's a way to gamify everyday tasks. And so when you complete a task, such as brush your teeth, you can mark that you did it. And after completing so many tasks, you can get in-game rewards. And they have quests that you have to complete for motivation. You can buy like in-game extra features to make it a little bit more engaging for somebody. All right, fun and leisure. We definitely need to explore that. So for fun and leisure, there's all kinds of options, such as card holders or card shufflers, automatic dice rollers, or even enlarged dice. There are adaptive game pieces you could do, such as Velcro or magnets, game holders or piece holders, high contrast games, etc. Things that make it easier to manipulate the objects. There are switch activated games. So if you see this duck game at the top, you push that purple button and it makes the ducks move. So someone can engage with the toy just by simply pushing the big button. There are all kinds of different switches. I won't go into that, but there are switches of different tactile input and different sizes that could be the most suited for somebody. There are braille and tactile games, and there are even adaptive video game controllers, like you see at the bottom here, with the joystick or the enlarged game controller. That dark gray is a bigger controller, and if that is not suitable for somebody, you can also plug in switches in the ports there to make it a bigger option for pressing. For crafts, we can find things like modified scissors, modified grippers, handles, or utensils, modified surface, such as a slant board or height adjustable table, switch access devices like I just showed you in the other pictures. There are arm supports, such as that guided hands. There are variety of DIY modifications for your craft supplies. And another fun one is Zot Arts. That is that picture of that kiddo in the wheelchair in the top. He is painting on the ground. They also have sidewalk chalk. So a way for a wheelchair user to still interact with their peers if they were to do floor-based activities and games. Sports and outdoors, sports equipment, there are several options. If you think about a sport that you'd like to play, there's probably a piece of adaptive equipment for that. And that is something we can also help you out with if you're not quite sure. Another common thing outside, like gardening, for example, you can get a cushion for kneeling. There are carts for your supplies that make it easier to hold on to. Adaptive gardening tools or adaptive hose. The bottom picture here is a long-handled little shovel or spade for someone who gardens. And then out in the community, there are a variety of accessible playgrounds that are popping up in Wood County. There's a lot of accessible playgrounds I know in some of the other areas too. Libraries have a lot of accessible programming. Metro parks. Toledo has a lot of great adaptive programming with their metro parks. And then even if you were to go to like adventure parks like Cedar Point or Disney World, if you were to look up their disability services, they have information about what to do when you are visiting those places if you needed something like a quiet room or a changing table. So if you were to go out, check out some of those places and see what resources are available. I know also with traveling, there's a ton of resources available for someone who wants to travel too. If you are interested in learning more about assistive lending programs, and if you wanted to try something out, here is a list of some of the resources. We're at the bottom, the Wood County Board of Developmental Disabilities. The Ability Center is located in Northwest Ohio. So it might be a little bit more regional, but there are a lot of community life living areas throughout the state. So this is just a snapshot of some of the resources for lending technology. Thank you so much. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or interests at that remote support at woodcountydd.org, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Thank you for attending.